Hi, Tina Grant from FitFlow Yoga and Fitness. Today's Strong Women, Strong Bones class is going to be a beginner level. We're going to really work on introducing impact to your workouts. So if you're new with weights and you're new with impact, just please do your own level and then you just can repeat the video and take it as you go. So the choices for impact are always going to be small heel drops, heavier heel drops, boom, where you can actually feel that vibration. Small jumps or hops. Deep jumps when you're strong. And then we'll move up eventually in the classes to stepping onto a small 6 to 8 inch deep bench and jumping off. That's the highest impact. Lots of really good research coming out about jumping off. It adds a lot more momentum and impact. So these are all your choices. Take it as you go, slow and low. And then we're going to be adding weights, dumbbells, to increase also the impact of our small jumps, steps, stomps, jump offs, all of those things. All right, so today's class we're going to focus on lower body. Important to have a lot of muscle and strength in your glutes, hamstrings, quads, calves, ankles, all of these things that are going to take the impact. And also, of course, for mobility. Work a little bit on balance for fall prevention. So all things that are going to work on bone health is what we'll be working on. Take your own level. All right, so let's just start by warming up. Start by warming up the legs. So if you can just start to work on balance, you can always have a wall or a chair here. We're just going to start to swing one leg. So I love working on dynamic balance like this because this is the kind of balance we need when we're out walking and, you know, if we're having a nice little hike or something and we're going into the terrain that's a little bit of a hazard with lots of trippy things. You want to be able to balance in a dynamic way, not just standing and holding. All right, switch. So if you're new, like I said, you can start by holding on maybe with one finger. Just most of it is just confidence, and then getting more and more able to actually move. Might start, of course, with just stable balancing, picking up a foot. We're going to open our knee and close our knee. All right. And then we're going to work on hip circles. So can you have your arms way out? Sure. Can you have your hand on a wall? Sure, no problem. Working on getting through this big hip joint, biggest circle as you can do. All right, we'll do the same thing on the other side. We're going to start by swinging. I tend to put my hands on my hips, but you can always have your arms out. Also, of course, having your arms out is going to work your arms. Your shoulders are going to get tired holding your arms up. All right, a couple of these. Don't forget, you're also engaging your abdominals right away when you're picking up your legs, stabilize your spine. It does help with balance. Okay, and then let's do that. Open and close, open and close, open and close. And then that big circle around your hip. Whoop, I'm falling. So the ability to kind of trip a little bit, wobble, weeble and wobble and not fall down is important. All right, let it go. And then just swing the arms. Get rid of that tension from holding your arms up. So when I'm warming up, I tend to do, even when I'm warming up the arms, I tend to do a lot of walking. So we're not just standing, swinging our arms, we're moving our feet. Speaking of feet, you'll notice I'm in bare feet. I like working out in bare feet. It strengthens the toes, strengthens the feet. Don't forget our feet are the thing that keep us stuck to the earth. So spreading the toes when you're on the ground, walking around in bare feet, if it's possible for you to do, is probably better. Not to mention, let's roll the wrists and let's roll the ankles. Not to mention, when you're working in bare feet, the impact is going to be harder. Even just small heel drops, your bones are going to get more impact, which is going to stimulate more bone growth. Let's do the other one. Ankle rolls, wrist rolls. Just want to warm up the ankles, because they're going to be taking some of the little heel drop impact jumps. And speaking of that, let's start. So when you're doing a squat, make sure your feet are just pelvis width apart or just hip. If your balance is a concern, you can open your feet so that they're shoulder width apart, your choice. Doing little squats, doesn't have to be deep. We're just warming up the ankles, the knees, and the hips. And we're swinging the arms to get a little bit more momentum here in that push up. As you're starting to stand, let's start to think about squeezing our bum, and squeezing. So you want to keep thinking about the muscles that you're working. And a squat, of course, is compound, all your leg muscles, but lots of work in the glutes. And we're going to add heel drops right here. Up, heel drop. As you're dropping your heels, you're bending your knees, and you're coming back into that squat so that you're protecting your knee joint, even as our heel is taking that impact, sending that impact up our bones, up the legs, and up the spine as well. Let's do 4, 3, 2, 1. Come back to stand. All right, so one of the things you want to think about is getting a little deeper as you get stronger. You're going to use more muscle, more cardiovascular, and burn more calories, and add more impact, so you get a little bit deeper. The other thing is we're going to add weight. I'm going to give you the choice. Today is our first impact class together here on YouTube. So let's just take it small. If you want to get a weight, you're going to take one weight. You're going to put it up against your chest or just above your collarbone. And then we'll do those same option. Weight or no weight. Okay? Squat, heel drop, squat, heel drop. So remember, you are dropping the heels and bending your knees at the same time. Let's do 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Whew, that'll get your heart rate up as well. That's the bonus. That's the bonus. All sorts of studies showing menopausal and postmenopausal women do really well doing kind of a high intensity workout. That means small bursts of really hard work and then a rest. We're having that rest right now. I hope you're enjoying it. Okay, we're gonna move to lunges. So we're gonna do a basic lunge. No weights for this one, and you can choose to not do any weights today, that's fine. We're gonna be working on stomping forward. So not just a light step, but a hard step. Hands on your hips, head up, core engaged. Stomp, push. Stomp, push. Stomp, push. So there's two things we're working on here. The stomp for impact and the push for muscle. Stomp, push. When you're pushing, push off of your heel. You can even pick up your toe. Stomp, almost like if you had a mirror in front of you, you'd be able to see the sole of your foot. Stomp, push. If you're not used to working out in bare feet, just try it, and you will build strength in your ankles and your feet as you go. All right? I find now trying to balance with shoes on, I find it more challenging than balancing with bare feet because you don't have the use of all your amazing little monkey toes to hold you. Let's do one more each leg. Stomp, push. Stomp, push. Good job. All right, take a little rest. You want to get a drink of water, which I do, but I forgot my water. So I'll just huff and puff right here. We're going to do one more set of it, but this time I'm going to offer you to do weights if you want. So remember that if you watched the first video in this little series of the introduction to strength training, you know I recommend that you have 3 sets of weights at least, a light, a medium, and a heavy. For legs, usually we're doing medium and heavy. Even if you're a beginner, you probably don't want to be holding a 3 or a 5 pound weight in your hands because it's not really going to be that much benefit unless you have a lot of arthritis or something and you can't lift something heavier yet. All right, so we're just going to let them hang. Don't forget, I shouldn't say don't forget because I haven't said this yet. When you're holding onto weights that are kind of a substantial weight, you're also working on grip strength, hand strength, wrist strength, the bones in the hands, okay? Chest up. That was my way to motivate you to hold on to something heavier. Here we go. Step, push. Stomp, push. Stomp, push. Stomp, push. Stomp, push. The stronger you are, the bigger you will step. If this is new to you, you don't have to do a big step. The thing is, ladies, when you are doing a small, narrow step, don't go down so far. You don't want your knee to push way past your toes with this weight. All right, you just want to be moderate. So if you're taking a small step, still can work on stomp, push. Stomp, push. Doesn't have to be deep. If you're stepping deep, you can bend your knee more. Or if you're stepping wider, I should say, you can bend your knee more. All right, so working on both things. stomp, and a push. Okay, we're done. Give you time to catch up to me. I'm used to teaching all my classes live, so I know oftentimes I'm working ahead of you. So I'll give you a second. Make sure you finish both legs equally, okay? Okay, we have another type of a stomp. We're gonna do a lateral stomp. So you wanna make sure that you have lots of room. If you're using a yoga mat, they're really good. It's a great distance mat for the kind of things what we're doing. Basically a stride. We're gonna step out and back in, all right? So you're gonna have your hands on your hips or up, wherever you need them. We're gonna step wide, stomp, and push. This time we're kind of pushing, stomp, and push. We're kind of lifting that leg if you have the power to do that. Also keeping the toes pointing forward. Okay, so we're working on our hips. Push, yeah, stomp, push, stomp, push. And again, always the range of motion is part of the exercise. So if you're new, you don't bend your knees so much, you don't step so wide. If you are not new, you can step wide and really stomp. The range of motion will be part of the progression. Nice strong core, please. We're doing one more each side. Stomp, push, stomp, push. Did I say one more? Okay, one more. Oh, I'm bad at that. Never trust me to count correctly. Push, and we're done. Good job. Keep moving, please, especially if your heart rate is up. You don't want to stop. All that blood pools down into your ankles and feet. And if you stop, then it kind of drains down and you feel dizzy. So we're actually walking. One of the reasons walking is so powerful is that it engages your calf muscles, and it's your calf muscles that pump blood back to your brain. So we want to keep moving our legs. All right, we're going to finish up with one last compound exercise, one of my absolute favorite lower body exercises, bridge. So bridge is on the mat. If you don't already have a mat out, you might want to get one, unless you're working on a softer surface. Going to pick up your weights. And if you watch the introduction to weight training video, you know I'm very picky about handling the weights. So you want to put your weights down and then come down on the floor. If you need to come down with a chair to assist you, that's fine. Just make sure it's out of the way when you're done. Once you're down and you're in a sitting position, you'll take the weights onto your hips. And then we're lean back, okay? Lean back. That's the core exercise, that lowering down. Get your feet underneath of your knees. All right, the weights can be on your hips. Now, of course, you don't have to do weights, just like all of the other things. If you've never done bridge before, maybe just no weights, and we're just gonna lift the hips with no weights, okay? The really important thing here, ladies, for those of us that have osteopenia, osteoporosis, get the chin away from the collarbone so you have lots of space between your chin and your collarbone. That will take your neck off the floor. We don't want those bones in the neck on the floor. All right, so weights or not weights, we're doing a pulse. Squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. We can add pelvic floor here as we're squeezing. So the exhale is the squeeze, inhale is the lower, exhale is the squeeze, inhale is the lower. As you're squeezing, squeeze and lift your pelvic floor. Squeeze and lift, squeeze and lift. So all things good for women, we want to work on pelvic floor all the time to keep it strong and functioning correctly, especially if you're just starting to do weights. We want to do all things at the same time. Keep going, please. I know there's a lot of burning going on, but pelvic floor is going to protect you from leaking if you're doing stomping. Slowly lower down. So if those stomps that we just did made you feel like you were going to leak, pee your pants a little bit, this is super common in women. So roll over and take those weights off, please, carefully, nice close to your body. Come back onto your back and bring your knees into your chest to stretch your back. And I'll continue to talk about leaking. Because a lot of times women will say, I can't do impact because it makes me pee myself, basically. And that's just a weak pelvic floor, which is super common for women that have had children and all of us women that have gone through menopause, because estrogen depletion will weaken muscles, including the pelvic floor muscles. All right, so we're gonna work on pelvic floor as well together. Okay, so this time we're not going to use the weights. Watch me first, please. We're going to come into the bridge position, walk your shoulder blades together. That helps to pick up the bones of your spine off the floor. Pick up your chin to get your neck off the floor. Bring your feet nice and close to you, and then we're going to stomp. We're just going to lift the foot and stomp, okay? Come on up into that position. Make sure that none of your spine is on the floor, not your neck and not the spine between the shoulder blades. So squeeze the shoulder blades together. Let's do a stomp. Up, drop, up, drop, up, drop, up, drop, stomp. You know you could be doing pelvic floor and glutes here, yes? Squeeze, stomp, squeeze, stomp, squeeze, squeeze, stop. Let's do 4, 3, 2, 1, and roll back to the floor. Take a big breath and bring your knees to your chest. Good job. Good job, ladies. If that was your first class working with impact, you did a great job. If you came all the way this far with me, take one hand on each knee and just roll your knees. We'll do a quick little glute stretch. You're going to cross your right ankle over your left thigh. Figure 4, you know this from fitness classes. Pick up your foot. You might have to pick up your head to clasp the back of your thigh, and then we'll lay our head back down again and get that stretch across the hip. I like to rock a little bit side to side, massaging the muscles on the back of my sacrum. It feels good for me. It might feel good for you. A couple big breaths. And then just switch the crossing the opposite. Same thing, some of us need to pick up our head to be able to grab the back of the leg. You can do that as long as you put your head back down. And do your best to tuck your chin back down into a neutral line. I don't mean put your chin on your collarbone. I mean try and have your chin not pointing straight to the ceiling. Get a little bit of length in the back of your neck. A couple big breaths here. If you want to do more stretches, just go ahead and do your hamstring and your quad stretch. But for this video, we're just going to roll over onto our side and we're done. So you can repeat this class if this is your first class doing impact. You can just repeat. I'm going to do a introduction to impact, upper body and lower body. So you can kind of just go back and forth with those videos until you feel comfortable. And then you might be able to move to the next full body exercise class that might be a little bit more challenging and offer more challenging impact and more challenging exercises. So work at your own pace and have a good time.